But on Ringrose's involvement in particular, just to focus on that, I mean, after things not going our way in the opening stages, he looked extra determined to, like you say, he really put on the gas to get through that gap. And he was, you almost think it wasn't even that he didn't feel like, he felt that if he made it, he'd get it in the corner, but he knew that if he got it to Jimmy O'Brien, he'd come around and maybe even make the conversion a little easier. You don't know, but that was the kind of, after having taking so long to get the first try, there was like that extra determination to make this move work. And as Ringrose went on to be star of the match, I thought we'd take this opportunity maybe to harp on not just his form on the day, but overall this season. He's done really well with the captaincy role, hasn't he, Tom?
Yeah, just to touch on what Nathan said regarding, Josh van der Flier and that red scrum cap and a bit of a beacon for set moves, and it draws people in. Gary Ringrose is the exact same. I think he was the only player last week that Gloucester's tried to have a plan. They knew he's such a fulcrum of the Leinster attack. And in fairness to Chris Harris, he did okay on him. Got some early hits on him, but it's because he's sucking in defenders or been a distraction. It's the reasons the likes of Jimmy O'Brien or Lamb or whoever else is beside him is able to get that room. But that aside, is just his general play. It's just that calmness of leadership that he has around the pitch. It's amazing to think that we're not missing Johnny's leadership. It's not that long ago where if Ireland was in a close game or Leinster was in a close game, the comment would be, Johnny would be in the ref's ear and Johnny would be this. But we haven't missed Johnny, but Ringrose has stepped into that role beautifully. I think Leo Cullen did a press conference before Christmas where he spoke about how just that calmness he brings to the team. You do see in the huddle that it's still the likes of Ross Byrne doing a lot of the shouting. He's the dog, and Ringer's just that calm voice as well. And there's a strong leadership group there. And in fairness, if there ever epitomizes a player that lets his actions do the talking as a captain, it's Ringrose. He just, as you say, he injects that pace if he sees a gap, and he just gets Leinster on the front foot. He's brilliant at stepping in at ruck protection. He adapts to step in at scrum half if he needs to. He's a kicking game, grubbing, as we've seen from one of the tries. But just that determination, he leads from the front just by his actions on the pitch rather than anything else. He's in the form of his life, and he is calm. If Stuart Lancaster is trying to bring this chaos theory to Leinster's play and how we play, well, he's definitely the calm guy in the middle of it, just making sure that it's done anyway. Because he's just been as I said, the form of his life at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, lead by example. That is his thing. He's very calm, and that calmness helps dealing with the ref as well. He's not afraid to go up and talk to him. He does when you can tell when it needs to have a chat, when there is a question, he'll go up and ask. But it's just I think that's going to help him in the long run. I think refs are going to like dealing with him, and he's had the captaincy. That was his 8th time captaining Leinster this season, so he's really starting to get the hang of it. What do you make of it, Nathan?
Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it? That he's the kind of the do as I do rather do as I say leader, isn't it? He just doesn't strike you as a loud figure at all, and I think that kind of backs up what Tom was saying earlier. The chaos, the comfortable in chaos thing, I think is brilliant because again, I completely agree. He's the type of leader you probably need in that Lancaster philosophy, and I think the reason why is because the way he just sees the game, you can kind of see things happening a second before they do. Like we mentioned for that O'Brien first try off the set phase, he's the front door option that crashes through the hole. Like you can be guaranteed that he's a split second before the defender has made the read to go out the back to Larmour. Ringrose has read that instinct and he's calling that ball. They'll have a call that means front door option there, and you can be 100% sure it's Ringrose making that read saying, give me the ball, I'm through a gap and he's gone. And even then, I know we're going to talk about his score later, but the composure of complete breakdown in play, and then just to react and see the space in behind and go, and then obviously to make that pass that he did. It's the way he reads that game in both structured and unstructured play, and the responsibility that he's given to make those decisions, mainly just because he can, and 9 times out of 10 it's the right decision. And I think that brings a calmness to his own game because he can trust his instincts, and then when that kind of happens, it rubs off on everyone else, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just when you go look back, I mean, it's been interesting following his career over the years. I mean, I remember being at the RDS for the, I think it was the 2013 Schools Cup final, where he was playing 13 for Rock, but he was kicking conversions as well. He's not too bad, shabby from the tee himself. He kicked, I think, 8 kicks that day in winning cause. That was a day where there was Ross Byrne was playing that day. Ross Maloney was playing. There was loads of James Ryan. There was loads of players that day that went on to play for Leinster and Ireland. But that's the way he's playing. He came into the team and he just quickly showed what he could do. I mean, I think he had a couple of starts on the wing when he started, but they quickly moved him over to that 13 position, and he hasn't let go. That's where he plays. And as you can say, I suppose captaining, as O'Driscoll would admit as well, it's not the easiest position to be captain from. I think that's maybe why he defers to his out half and maybe the forwards as well when they have issues as well. But he seems to know he's got the kind of rugby brain, not just in the play, but also in when to speak to the ref, when to get involved and stuff, And although this lineup was around halfway, we were about to see a bit of highlight reel magic from our skipper, weren't we, Tom?
Yeah, I think from the next ruck we sort of got a dirty ball from Ross Byrne that sort of daisy cut it along the ground. I think he was expecting a heavy hit from one of the Racing defenders who had shot out, but Ringrose, who we've spoken about, sort of improvised with we'll say a planned fly hack. And then Racing were sort of caught unawares, and Nathan mentioned that injection of pace for Jimmy O'Brien's first try, where Gary broke through the line and gives options. This was similar. He just put he pinned the ears back and just sprinted, and he got there first. And after that, it was reminiscent of Jordan Larmour's try against Scarlets in the Pro 14 a few years ago, where that lovely pickup. It was all about Ringer. That you know what I mean? It was a real highlight reel, that lovely pick up and pop pass at the same time. And again, whatever it was, 75, 74 minutes on the clock to still have that pace. After a guy who's Gary's quite physical around the pitch. He's hard in defence. He's not afraid to get into rucks. So, he could be excused if he was bollocksed, but to be still showing that pace and that, the game was won at that stage, just to show that hunger and leadership, what we spoke about, was fantastic. And I'm sure Nathan will touch on, he got his just rewards at the end to cap off a nice win.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about his pace, and when he kicked ahead, you could tell he was going to be the one who was going to make it there first. But the other thing about it is that although he is moving fast, in those situations, time kind of does stand still in a way as well. It's like, and for us mere mortals, if we know we're going to get that, if we're going to be getting to that ball, you've plenty of time to realize, oh, geez, I'm going to knock this on. I'm going to screw it up. I'm going to do this, that, and the other. Plenty of times to talk yourself out of it. But Ringer is the opposite of that. He's focusing on what he needs to do, not just picking it up, but being aware of who's trailing with him and get that offload as well. It was all the elements of the run and the pickup there was just amazing. So it was now 29-10, and although in most cases you think the match would fizzle out from here, there was no let up as Leinster fought to squeeze every conceivable point from this pool phase. And shortly after being named star of the match, Ringrose supplied the icing on the cake, didn't he, Nathan?
Eventually, Ross Byrne makes a late swing down the blind side. He gets pressured, but he just kind of shovels the ball on quickly to Ringrose. Who, not the first time we've seen Ross do that. He did that last week as well, didn't he? For Hugo Keenan score down in Kingsholm. So Ross Byrne showing off his skills, and Ringrose just darts in the corner. He takes a big shot to the ribs from Christian Wade for his troubles. And for a minute, I was up in the opposite end to that. I was sat with friends, not in the press box, down in at the top next above the post, so you couldn't see who it actually was getting treatment. And you're seeing Ringrose underneath 3 Racing defenders, and you're going, oh no, Six Nations, and you're just, everything is going through your head. And then eventually you realize I was only a Racing lad that was getting treatment. Ringrose did actually get up eventually, but no, I think thankfully everybody seemed to be okay. And look, that was 8 o'clock on the red from there, wasn't it? And it was nice that he did get to show off his finish after the ridiculous assist that Tom was talking about.